Hello, everybody. I'm Peter the Booklover, and this is Movie Talk. This is where I talk about the movies I've recently seen, and this is episode 23, and this is the movie Escape from New York. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. I'm Peter the Booklover, and in these videos, I like to talk about the movies that I've recently seen. And, I have a fun time doing this because I really like to watch a lot of movies and I like to talk about movies. I mean, I really make videos talking about the books that I read, but I also like making videos talking about the movies that I've seen. And this is the movie Escape from New York. This is a dystopian movie and it's really interesting. I really enjoy this movie, so let's talk about it. But before I talk about the movie, I want to thank everybody for being here. Every video that I make, I always thank the audience for giving me your time because you're wonderful for giving me your time. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get into this. This is Escape from New York. This came out in 1981. And before I get into my summary of this movie, I'm going to go into the director and the cast. So let's start off with the director. The director is John Carpenter. Now, John Carpenter is known for a lot of great movies. One of my favorites is Halloween. I really love that movie. It's fantastic. He also directed The Thing, which is another fantastic movie. He directed Christine, the story about the haunted car, which is wonderful. Starman, gotta love that movie. It's wonderful. They Live is another one of his movies that I totally adore. It's a fantastic movie about an alien invasion. Vampires is another one of his fantastic movies. I really love that movie. It's a great movie about vampires. It's wonderful. And of course, he directed the sequel to this, Escape from LA. So, let's go into the cast. Now, Snake Plissken is played by Kurt Russell. Now, Kurt Russell has done a lot of great movies as well. He has done Tombstone. He plays Wyatt Earp in Tombstone, and he does a fantastic job in that movie. There's a movie called Breakdown. If you've never seen that movie, that is a fantastic Kurt Russell movie that's just an action-packed adventure. We've got Soldier, which is another movie that's set in the future, which is really cool. We've got Overboard. That's a comedy, which is great. He starred in the movie The Thing, and he does a fantastic job in that movie. We've got The Deadly Tower. Now, this is a movie he filmed a long time ago. This is not really known, but he plays Charles Whitman, a guy that actually goes on a tower and shoots a bunch of people. And it's an interesting movie. And he also played Elvis. Now, the movie where he played Elvis, I didn't see yet, but I've heard that he's done a great performance in that movie. Next, we got Hawk, played by Lee Van Cleef. Now, Lee Van Cleef starred in a fantastic movie. This movie called High Noon is a wonderful Western. It's one of my favorites, and I believe that's his first movie. Then he also starred in a movie, The Beast from 2000 Phantoms, which is a good sci-fi movie that, it's an old-fashioned monster movie that's fantastic. We also have him in The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. Of course, there's more movies that he's been in. And I have not seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but I'm familiar from the previews that I've seen of that movie. And one of these days I'm going to get around to watching that. But that's a movie that he's really known for. Next up is The President. And this is played by Donald Pleasence. Now, this guy was in a movie of 1984, the George Orwell novel. And I actually seen this movie, and it was a very good movie. It's actually my favorite version of 1984. I believe it's in 1950 something, maybe even earlier than that. And it's great. He also was in The Great Escape. I don't remember him in that movie, but I know that he's in that movie. And of course, I really remember him from Halloween. That's one of his most iconic roles. Most people know him from the Halloween movies. Then we got Cabby, played by Ernest Borgnine. Now, this guy was in a movie called The Poseidon Adventure. And that's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed that movie quite a bit. And another movie that I've seen him in that I really enjoyed was The Black Hole, a Disney movie that's like a takeoff of Star Wars. It was actually a pretty cool movie, and I digged it a lot. There's other movies that he's been in. There's this movie called Marty that he's in that I haven't seen yet, but I plan on watching one day. Then we've got The Brain, also known as Harold. This is played by Harry D. Stanton, and this guy has been in a lot of movies. Now, he was in The Godfather Part 2, and didn't have a big role, but he's in The Godfather Part 2. He's in Alien, and he's got a pretty good part in that, and I really like him in that movie. He's in the movie Christine, and that's a pretty good movie. We've got The Green Mile, and he does a fantastic performance in that. I really love his performance in that. And he's also in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is a movie that I'm not too familiar with, but I've seen it. I don't remember him in it. I actually have that DVD. I plan on rewatching that pretty soon. Then we have Maggie, played by Adrienne Barbeau, and she was in the movie Creepshow, which is a fantastic. I love Creepshow. She was in The Fog. That's a pretty good movie. She was in The Swamp Thing. This is another movie that was a decent movie. Not the best. But we got The Cannonball Run, and I definitely remember her in that movie. That's like a kind of comedy. It's pretty interesting. Then we have The Duke of New York, and that is played by Isaac Hayes. We all know him as Chef in South Park, and he is fantastic as Chef in South Park. I really love the character of Chef from South Park. Really great. Also, Isaac Hayes has done some great music. And then the last person that I'm going to talk about is Remy, played by Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins was in the movie The Fog. He was also in Creepshow. I love Creepshow. He was in Halloween 3. Now, this movie is, a lot of people don't like this movie because it's like, went off the course of Halloween, but this actually is a good movie if you don't look at it as a Halloween movie. You know what I mean? Because you don't get Michael Myers in this movie, except in a commercial. And it's actually a decent movie. And he was also in a movie called Night of the Creeps, and I love that movie. So that is the cast. Now, let me give you my summary of this movie. I don't go too far on this. Okay, so New York City, Manhattan Island, has become a prison. It's in 1988 when it becomes a maximum security prison. And then in 1997, the president's airplane, Air Force One, gets hijacked and then crash lands in Manhattan. And then the president becomes a hostage. Snake Plissken is a new prisoner, and he gets offered a pardon if he can rescue the president in 24 hours. And Snake Plissken has 24 hours to rescue the president, or he dies. And that's all I'm going to give you in this movie. All this stuff happens at the beginning of the movie, and I really can't go into more detail than that because the rest is a bunch of action and adventure, and it's wonderful. Trust me, this movie is great. I really enjoyed this movie. Every time I watch this movie, I enjoy it more and more. I mean, this movie is fantastic. The pacing of this movie, the way that it's set up, John Carpenter did a fantastic job of making New York Island look like a prison place, and it's crazy on how it looks. It looks incredible. One cool thing about it is the Twin Towers are in this movie. They're kind of a big part of this movie, which I always look out for because I always a fan of those Twin Towers, man. They were pretty cool buildings. I remember King Kong from 1976. He was up there. But yeah, I think this is a fantastic movie. This is a movie that Every time you see it, you're going to really enjoy it. The very end of this movie is fantastic. I love the very, very end of this movie. It's wonderful. And also, there's a sequel, Escape from LA, that's actually another movie that I'm going to be talking about in the future because I really enjoy that movie as well. But it's nowhere near as good as this movie. And this movie is one of my favorite John Carpenter's movies. It's really wonderful. I mean, The Thing I might not like a little bit more, and I also like They Live a little bit more, but this movie is wonderful. I highly recommend it, and you should check it out. And that's about it. I'm Peter the Book Lover, and I want to thank you for coming by. If you liked the video, please do me a favor, hit the like button. Every time I see that, I really love that. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I love to hear from you. I respond to my comments, and I really appreciate them. And if you haven't subscribed, please do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. I would love to see your subscription, and I'm working really hard to make my videos more interesting as I go along. And that's about it. I'm Peter the Book Lover. I want to thank you for coming by, and I hope to see you in the next video.